back to the Shutter Sports Refresh, the weekly show that breaks down all the biggest news in sports. I'm your host, Lucky Roberts, and let's get right into it. Let's get things started off with a new season of the PWHL, or Professional Women's Hockey League. After an amazing inaugural season last year, the league is back and all the teams have new logos, names, branding, and a hell of a lot more fans. The 6 teams of the league now are the Minnesota Frost, the Toronto Scepters, the New York Sirens, Victoire de Montreal, Ottawa Charge, and the Boston Fleet. The regular season is tipped off to start on November 30th and will run all the way until May when the playoffs begin. One pick went to the New York Sirens, and they picked Sarah Fillier. The Sirens won their first game of the season last night, 4-3 in overtime against Minnesota. Fillier finished the game with 2 assists. It's bound to be a great season. Make sure to come back next week as we give you all the PWHL updates. The second last race of the F1 season went down yesterday morning, and it pretty much solidified the standings. The winner of Qatar Grand Prix was Max Verstappen, who has essentially confirmed his winner for the driver standings. This was Verstappen's 9th win of the season. Incredibly impressive. The constructor standings are going down to the wire, though, as McLaren and Ferrari have just 21 points separating them. Charles Leclerc of Ferrari came in second yesterday and needs to have a similar performance to close the gap on McLaren. McLaren has Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, though, and they will not go down without a fight. Next weekend, the final race of the season goes down, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Make sure to come back next week as you'll hear who wins. Moving on to the NFL, which is inching closer to the playoffs every single week. There were a ton of close games this week, but none more exciting than Kansas City Chiefs versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders found themselves down 2 with just 12 seconds to go in field goal range. All they had to do was make a field goal and take the win home. But quarterback Aiden O'Connell misses the snap and the ball goes right over the Raiders' head. The Chiefs dodge a bullet and take home a win, improving the record, saying 11-1. Another good game was the Carolina Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This one went to overtime in a clutch 51-yard field goal from Buccaneers kicker Chase McLaughlin. In overtime, though, McLaughlin missed a field goal to give the Panthers a chance to win the game. On the way down the field, we saw an absolutely ridiculous one-handed catch by Panthers Adam Thielen, and they looked all over for the Buccaneers. The very next play, though, the Buccaneers came in clutch and poked the ball away from the Panthers, causing a turnover. The Buccaneers then made a field goal in this thriller of a game. The stars for the Buccaneers were running back Bucky Irving, who finished with 152 yards, and receiver Mike Evans, who finished with 118. Next, let's show our weekly NHL standings here as we look at the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs still fighting for the top spot in the Atlantic. Something surprising is the Boston Bruins in third, who have a terrible negative 16 point differential on the season, but still have a record of 12, 11, and 3. Very strange. In the Metropolitan Division, the Washington Capitals have overtaken the New Jersey Devils for the top spot. They are on a 4-game win streak. The most shocking overtake of the week, though, is the Winnipeg Jets no longer holding the top spot in the Central Division after starting the season with a ridiculous undefeated record that just have cooled off, and the team has gone 4-6 in their last 10. The Minnesota Wild have taken over their spot. And in the Pacific, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Los Angeles Kings are fighting for the top seed. Moving over to the NBA, we had a ton of close games throughout the week. First off, the Los Angeles Lakers won a close one against the Utah Jazz. The fact that this game was even close is surprising, as the Jazz are one of the worst teams in the league this season. The top 2 seeds in the Western Conference so far had a close one last night as well. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets faced off in a competitive battle between 2 pretty young teams. The Rockets ended up coming on top, though. Looking at the NBA standings, though, the Memphis Grizzlies are on a 6-game winning streak and have skyrocketed to 3rd place in the standings. In the Eastern Conference is the Cleveland Cavaliers and Boston Celtics still at the top. And for our last piece of news, let's go over the standings of the European football leagues. In the English Premier League, Liverpool is still atop with a very big gap. The goal-scoring leader in the EPL is Erling Haaland of Man City. In the Spanish La Liga, Barcelona has been dominant. They sit in 1st place, and the top 2 goal scorers are Robert Lewandowski and Rafinha. In the German Bundesliga, Bayern Munich is on top as always, lower Harry Kane. In the French Ligue 1, PSG is number 1 and has been dominating recently. They're on a 4-game win streak. Bradley Barcola leads the league in goals. And finally, in the Italian league, Serie A, Napoli is in front. And goal scorer is Matteo Retegui. All the sports news we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the Shutter Sports Refresh today, and I hope you learned something as well. I've been your host, Lucky Roberts, and you can check out our socials right down here. Also, check out Shutter Sports Media if you have the chance. Thanks for watching.